Okay, so I'm very happy to be sitting here with Lior Moyal from Neuroapplied. We met, I believe, last June when you were presenting your startup in front of a German delegation of marketing people. And yeah, I remember it was very exciting, and I'm very happy to hear about Neuroapplied, what you do, what your journey has been up to now, and what you're doing now.
Okay, very good. Thank you for having me and for being the first one to be interviewed. So what we do in Neuroapplied, we give voice to our unexpressed feelings about brands and their communications. And the way we do it is very unique. We use visual images of people in order to extract subconscious thoughts and perceptions of consumers about brands. Let me show it. It will be simpler if I show
Okay.
what we do. Let's assume we want to measure what people think about the Audi brand here. So basically we show an image of a person and we ask if she's a customer of the brand. If she is, we swipe right, and if not...
That was left, but
that's
it's okay.
left.
Yeah.
So if she is, we swipe right, and if not, we swipe left.
Uh-huh.
Same like in Tinder,
Oh, okay.
but for brand research.
Okay.
So that's how we get our input. The output is
Interesting,
a set
okay.
of all the brand characteristics and attributes that are being perceived by the consumer, even though he's not aware of it himself.
And it doesn't matter if the answer is actually correct or if the person is actually...
No, there's no correct answer.
Yeah,
Actually, it's
just a
whatever you
perception,
think.
yes.
And it's actually trying to merge the set of associations you have about the person and the set of associations you have about the brand and the combination of the two.
Okay, and this is always your method of measurement, or do you
Yes.
have other... So you no
It's
surveys, no...
No surveys, and it's actually the idea is to fix the broken methodology of surveys where people say what you want to hear
Yes.
or what will make them look good, but
Mhm.
it's sometimes very far away from the truth.
Right.
And as you set your marketing strategy, your positioning and messaging, you want to count on a truthful input and not something that was made for other purposes.
Okay, and you always use it with people? I mean,
Yeah.
this is exactly the thing, or is there
Yeah.
are there other examples?
We have a
where-
bank of images of people in different backgrounds and clothing.
And the questions is always, do you think they are customers, or could it be a different question?
It can be a different question depending on what we want to research. If we want to research a brand of a product, then we ask if she's a customer of the brand. If we want to ask to measure a brand which is a company, then we'll ask if she's into the company or a fan of the company. And if we want to measure a brand, employer's branding, for example, like how is this company as an employer, then we will ask if this person is an employee of this company.
Okay.
But basically, it's a very simple question that immediately disappears when you do the second and the third image, and you're constantly focused on the image and the brand.
One more question, because I remember when in your presentation you showed us like the image of politicians like Kim Jong-il and Donald Trump and so on. How do you like? What's the question there?
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
it like are these voters? No.
Yeah.
I mean,
So for politicians, which are also brands, human brands, we ask, would you vote for that? Would she vote for this person?
no, okay.
Okay.
And there could be other things in the image, not just like a person. It could be also, I mean, because sometimes you could like display like I don't know where they live or what kind of.
No, we don't go there at the moment.
Yeah.
We could, but we found that the richness of information that we can conclude
Yes.
from a person from an image of a person is so wide and so full of data that for the moment it's more than what we need.
Okay. Now you have a database of people, faces, photos, and you have a lot of, I guess, tags and characteristics associated with these.
Yeah.
How did you come up with these?
Okay.
To know like this person in this photo is actually would mean that someone is,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Very good
introverted
question.
or whatever.
Yeah. So basically we use the similar tool, but there is no brand involved because we're just doing the initial qualification of the image, and we ask for each image, is this person introvert? Is he buying expensive product? And so on and so forth. So we have like a set of currently 80 characteristics for each person, and we have like tens of images of persons, and that combination is enough in order to map any brand in any country.
Oh, that's really exciting, and I understand it much better actually now that you're telling me about the methodology than I did the last time I saw your presentation.
Well, I wanted to keep you, interested enough in order to do this interview. So
Yeah.
mission
You
accomplished.
You did a good job in that. I see a lot of use cases in it, but do you have, what kind of comparison do you have to know that the actual quality of your results? That,
Yeah.
how do they compare to other methods of brand finding, and how do you know how
Yeah.
accurate it is?
So our customers usually compare us to the information they've got from the traditional questionnaires. And here they find something very interesting, that for some of the characteristics that people don't have any incentive to lie about, our results and the results that they have correlate. And for some of the other attributes where people need to feel a need to say something else, there is a difference. So we achieve two things. We achieve validation on some of the attributes, and we achieve the added value on the ones that are not. And another aspect of this methodology is you don't need to define any attributes up front. We will show you what were the attributes that were highly correlated to your brand. So a lot of times we see that our customers are being surprised to reveal new set of attributes that are being used to describe their brand by people's mind, and they didn't even know about it. And that helps them a lot in coming up with new creative messaging, and sometimes to recharacterize the market or the segment of the market, the category where the brand is playing.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. So I won't mention the name of the customers because it's still under NDA, but we were talking with a large dairy manufacturer.
What manufacturer?
Dairy products.
Dairy.
Dairy
Okay.
products manufacturer,
Yes.
which were facing a competition on its most profitable brand for the last 20 years. They used us because none of the traditional methodologies helped them understand how to fight this phenomena. And we showed them that the new competing product was actually forming a new subcategory of its own. Okay? And
Blue Ocean strategy.
yeah,
Okay.
and what they were able to do after revealing that is to borrow a brand from another category, position it as direct competition to the new subcategory that was created, repositioning their cash cow products, the most profitable ones, and preserve its market share.
Okay.
And that was very meaningful for them because we were talking about hundreds of millions of profits that were dependent on that specific reaction to this new threat.
Wow, and you were probably able to do that pretty quickly.
Yeah, for us it was like almost effortless.
So
But
what kind of data set are you looking at to get accurate insights? Like how many, like for a supermarket brand, how many do you have to, just go to one supermarket and talk to 50 consumers, or do you have to?
So
do you
50
need hundreds, or
you said 50, that's the magic number. Usually in traditional surveys you need around 500. We need 50 because we get much more information from each of our respondents. So each swipe is like 80 data points that are contributed to our knowledge. But on top of that, because we are researching the subconscious perception, and people don't manipulate with it like they do in traditional conscious questionnaires, the data is converging very quickly. So we see a conversion after 20 responses. At 40, we are in very high accuracy. So 50 is even, shooting above what we need.
wow.
So that's very efficient also from operational perspective.
Okay, so you're basically turning the market research industry on its head, because, or
Yeah.
you're reinventing that because.
That's the purpose, because I think this industry requires some shaking and I hope to be one of the forces that will do this shift.
That's amazing. Now, do you offer this as a service, or can companies basically rent your platform to use it, or how does that? What's the model?
Okay, so the eventual model is a do-it-yourself self-service platform on the cloud. However, because we are dealing with a new concept and a new technology, and we are dealing with large brands, there is some service aspect associated with it, which sometimes we provide directly, and sometimes we use our partners, which can be advertising agency or branding consultants, or sometimes other traditional research company that don't want to be stuck with the old technology and want to move on, so they use us either white labeled or not.
Mm-hmm. How difficult is it for, how much, how difficult would it be for a competitor to develop a similar?
So first of all, we hold a patent on that specific methodology. So if a competitor would like to copy the same, he won't be able to do it without facing some litigation.
Mm-hmm.
But if he wants to do something similar, then he's welcome to invent something similar. We found that our methodology is very accurate and efficient, and also fun to interact with. So if you think also about the aspect of the consumer, instead of filling a long and very boring questionnaire, they just do a few swipes, which they are used to do from other applications.
Yeah, like I would love to do a survey like that and not even get paid for it. So
yeah,
it's just fun, yeah.
And that's the whole point, because if you want to capture people who land on your website or on your social page, you don't want to pay them for interacting with it. So that's another power of this tool.
But I'm saying, because you told me, I think you have neuro researchers and scientists in your team.
Yeah, the company was founded by two PhDs in neuroscience. One of them with a background in physiology, and one of them in background in cognitive psychology. And they actually invented the algorithm and the whole methodology, and also patented it. So it's based on a very thorough research.
Yeah, but so there is some secret sauce. It's not like you can't just build an app and then.
Yeah, there is a secret sauce, but even with secret sauce, there is, people can try to reverse engineer it, but then they will face the legal implication if they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you have a running solution, so it makes sense to talk to you. So this is.
I think for a newcomer that would like to do exactly what we do, it will take between 2 to 3 years to reach a point of where we are today.
Right. Do you want to tell us a bit about? Okay, so but just to sum up, so your target market is of course brands who want to know their standing, so top brands, and then advertising agencies and market research companies and the like that can use your either your methodology or your data.
They're more like
or your
potential partners or go-to-market channels. The end customers are the large brands.
Yes.
Hopefully, as it will be adopted by more and more large brands, we hope to make the platform accessible also to medium-sized brands. I don't see it at the moment getting all the way down to even small brands. And even small brands are not always have the capacity to invest so much in researching how they are being perceived. They don't invest in branding to begin with so much, so not to mention researching it.
Yeah, and it might not also be as precise because as they're not well known and they don't only have so many customers.
But
sure, they'll have they'll be maybe they'll have some kind of image in their customer's mind, but this can change with everything they put out or everything they do. This fluctuate in the beginning.
We can do that if they can afford using our tool. Then we can do it for them. But then we will need to find those people that are actually aware of that brand. So maybe in a small locality, there will be enough people like that, and then we can have them interact with the platform. The advantage of working with large global brands is that almost everybody knows them, so we don't need to do a lot of filtering of who's aware of the brand before we ask the perception of it.
But still, if you want to acquire brands as customers to use your tool, I mean, it's very convincing what you said, but you still basically, if you have a market, you have to still show that you're actually solving a problem for them. So how do you go about this, or how do you approach a brand? Like, do you say, okay, we did a little, you give them like a teaser of some research you did, and you said, here, I think you made, like when I see some of your advertisement and some of what our research shows is that there is a mismatch, and you could be repositioning yourself better, and we'd like to show you more, or
We could go about it this way, but it's a bit expensive because then if we do what you suggest, then we need to do half of the work already without being paid. So, and we are too busy at the moment to do that. Maybe in the future we'll take this approach. Right now, what we do is first we show them some of the examples of what we did with other customers without specific mentioning the brand, so we can like obfuscate the actual brand name, but we still show the insights and the results and the actionable.
for someone in their industry or similar industry or someone they would know.
You know what's nice about branding is that even if it's a different industry, some of the principles of good branding are universal.
Yeah, true.
Because whether you're a technology company or a drink and beverage company or a car company, you always like your brand to be cool, reliable, trustworthy, and so on and so forth. When you think about it, so we can play across multiple verticals even without changing a single attribute in our database of brand traits. So I got deals with beverage companies and automotive manufacturers just by showing a result of a project we did with a technology company. Didn't matter. The brand values are almost the same in terms of what brands are aspiring to have associated with their brands. Especially when they are comparing themselves to, not always to competitors in the same category. There is a trend today that, especially in user experience, that if you're used to a good experience from an Apple product, then when you go and buy a marketing automation software, you're expecting a similar experience, although it's a different market. So the same goes with branding comparison. If you want to compare yourself to the best brand in the world today, it's Apple. Then even if you are doing, cars, you want people to perceive your car as cool and as user-friendly as Apple. But the traditional comparison to products and competitors in the same category still applies. But for us, in the selling and convincing part, we can use examples for other categories, and it works.
Now, it looks like you're the kind of startup that, unlike traditional startups that either develop their home market first and then, look to internationalize, or just to start, in a certain market. It looks like there's almost no reason why you can't work the whole world right away, because it just really depends on approaching the brands. I mean, how are you? What's your strategy there? Are you going country by country? Are you just going the top 500 brands and say, let's pick the 50 of these and approach them, or how does it work? How are you set up? Who's helping you, or who's?
So it's a great question. So you're right. The technology is universal, and we built it this way with that in mind. So initially we thought, okay, how can we make the tool easy to migrate from culture to culture? And the only thing we need to do when we approach a new culture is to update the database of the images that we have with what locals in this culture think about those people, and there are some differences. So it's a very small effort that we only do once, and then the whole country is open for us to do researches with any brand in that country. Still, even if that thing is covered, for us as a small company, we do want to focus our efforts. So we try to do it on the markets where branding means a lot. The first market for that is the US. 45% of all brand research are happening by US companies. And then some of the Western European and Japan countries. So For us, starting with the US, continuing to Germany, then UK and France, and maybe Spain and Italy, then doing Japan, that will be probably the order of expansion. Sometimes we do get opportunities from markets that we didn't plan, but they are big enough, like Brazil. So we do respond to opportunities like that. But our main focus is the US and Western European market.
Awesome.
Markets.
Okay. Okay. I guess lastly, how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm very accessible. I can be reached by LinkedIn or even email. Lior, Lior at neuroapplied.com. Neuroapplied is spelled neuroapplied.com. And of course, we have our website, and you can send your request there. So
Yeah. So
Very
Lior,
easy.
thank you very much for your time.
thank you very much.
All right.